am trying to bring to you the autumn vibes, but I'm in Scotland at the moment and we have had for the past week the most beautiful, sunny, warm weather, and I'm not feeling very autumny right now, but I'm trying to kind of manifest it. So I've got a jumper on and I've got a mug. It doesn't have a hot beverage in it. It has a very nice cool beverage in it. And I've just had to put my hair up because I'm so hot right now. But it's just, it hits different in Scotland. Anyway, hello, it's been a long time since I've done one of these, but I'm really excited to do a sit down chatty video talking about all of the books that I kind of have my eye on for the next few months. They're books that I think will give me very autumny / Halloweeny vibes, and I wanted to talk about them so that they can also be on your radar, and you can maybe pick them up too if they sound like your cup of tea. So I have my handy dandy notes and we're gonna get into it. Before I get into this, I need to mention the background is so boring. I'm so sorry. In one of my previous like Halloween videos that did really well as well, it was like I had pumpkins and I had candles and it was just so vibey, but I wanted to do this now so that it kind of gives you enough time to actually go and buy any of these books if they sound like your cup of tea, and then you will have them ready for October. And then yeah, hopefully I will bring out some other videos that kind of give you all of the spooky, creepy vibes. You're not getting those in this video, I'm sorry. Honestly, I don't know what this weather is, but it's incredible. First book is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. This is about two siblings, Louise and Mark, who both travel to their family home after their parents have passed away in order to kind of prepare the house for sale. Once they get there, it's a haunted house, so as you can expect, odd things start to occur, unexplained things happen, and it almost seems as though the house doesn't want to be sold. I think it kind of goes into more than just paranormal spooky vibes. I think it also kind of explores dysfunctional family drama. I saw someone saying that it had loads of really good dark humor in it. I'm a little bit nervous to read it. I've heard of Grady Hendrix before. Yeah, I've been wary to try any of his books because I know that some of them are more in the style of slasher films, horror, and that's just not really my jam. I prefer like psychological thrillers and really atmospheric reads, really gothic reads. I like the creepy, eerie vibes, but I don't want gore, I don't want full-on horror, and that's why I've kind of been a little bit reticent to try anything by him previously, but I'm willing to give this one a go. It sounds really good. We'll just have to wait and see. The next one I have is Masters of Death by Olivia Blake, which is also a haunted house novel. Before this, I think I'd only read about 2 haunted house novels, and then when I was making this list I realised that there are like 4 or 5 on here that are haunted house / mansion books. So if that's your thing, you're in for a treat because I've got loads to recommend to you. You follow the main character Viola, who is a real estate agent, and she is trying to sell, I think it's a mansion actually, that is infested with ghosts. She ends up recruiting a whole cast of characters, including poltergeists, mediums, I think there's an angel, there's a reaper, you get the idea. Lots of kind of vampires, there are vampires as well. I like the sound of this one. It sounds like it's going to be super fun, super entertaining. I think the kind of dynamics between all of these different characters and their like moodiness, and they're going to be like annoyed ghosts, that's the vibe I'm getting, and I think that that sounds really fun. So I'm willing to give it a go, even though I have read, the author is also the author of The Atlas 6, which I have talked about in depth in a different video, and it ended up not really being my thing. I'm a little bit scared because one of my complaints was that she had a lot of characters in her other book and not all of them were very interesting, and it appears as though there are going to be a lot of characters in this one as well, so I'm a little bit scared, but I'm open to being surprised. I also wrote down Notes on an Execution by Danya Kafafka? Danya Kafafka? I have had this book on my radar for quite a while. Oh, all the sheep are really hot. Same, guys. This one is a literary fiction that tells the story of a serial killer who is on death row, and it's told through the eyes of his victims. I have heard so many really positive reviews about this book. I've heard a lot of people say that it is masterfully written, it's super poetic, heartbreaking, makes an interesting kind of commentary on society, and it's just all done really well. The next one is The Stranger Upstairs by Lisa M. Martin. This is a gothic psychological debut from the author, and it is about a influencer, I believe, who decides to buy a murder house in order to renovate it. She's hoping to reach a new audience. Turns out that maybe the house is haunted. I've heard a lot of people say that it is quite dark, really twisty, super engrossing, and I'm interested to give it a go. From the cover, I wouldn't have picked it up, but I'm willing to try it. I am also going to keep an eye out for Slewfoot by Brom. I heard Leonie talking about this book on her channel, which is the kind of first thing that drew me to it. And to be honest, the main thing that's kind of attracting me to it is that it is a illustrated book and the illustrations look absolutely incredible. So this one is a dark fantasy that takes us back to the witch trials. It follows our main character, what's her name? Ibiza. Okay. It follows our main character Agatha, who is a recently widowed woman, and she wants to do right by her husband's memory and maintain the family farm. Of course, this is kind of back during the Puritan times, and so she is heavily prosecuted by her brother-in-law and the townsfolk. If you like witchcraft, sorcery, there's the devil, it's about vengeance, it has a strong female protagonist, it's got lots of folklore in it and legends and mythology. So I'm mainly drawn to it because of the illustrations. I like a good illustrated book, but it also does sound really vibey and like it'll be a really good read, especially during October. I feel like I have to mention the next one, which is Bookshops and Bone Dust, which is the sequel to Legends and Lattes. If you have not read this book yet, I would be very surprised. It kind of has been super popular, and I feel like everyone has read it now. If you don't know what it is though, because you haven't yet read it, it is a cozy fantasy about this orc who is retired. She moves to this little village in order to set up a coffee shop in a place where no one has ever heard of coffee, and she ends up recruiting this wholesome cast of characters to help her achieve her dream. It's just incredibly cozy and heartwarming. It has all of these wholesome relationships. It's very much day-to-day life. It's like low stakes. All of these characters discover different types of coffee and iced coffee, and they get cinnamon rolls, and they have to find someone to do the baking and someone to do the entertainment. And so this one is the sequel to that, following the same main character. Is her name Viv? But I'm gonna call her Viv anyway. It's back when Viv was younger, during her mercenary years, and she gets injured, and because of this injury she is forced to have a extended stay in this little village. She stays in a library and ends up helping them, and it's kind of the same thing of loads of different wholesome characters. Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. It hasn't come out yet. It doesn't come out until the 9th of November. November is still autumn though, so I thought it was still a good one to have on your list. I've picked up Book of Night by Holly Black. It's an adult modern dark fantasy about secret societies and shadow thieves. I don't know, it seems that the magic system has to do with shadows, and that you can kind of distort them and better them to gain more power. You're following the main character, Charlie Hall, who is this low-level con artist, currently working as a bartender, but you kind of understand that she is trying to distance herself from a previous boss who seems to have been involved in a lot of crime. And she's just trying to make a living and survive, and of course that's not what happens. She gets kind of thrown into this mess that involves murder and doppelgangers and thieves and secrets and lies, and yeah. I've just finished reading The Sundown Motel by Simone St. That one was about our main character Carly, who has had this big mystery in her family. Her Aunt Viv disappeared 35 years ago, and her disappearance has never been explained. Nobody knows what happened. And so in the beginning of the book, Carly's mum kind of passes away, and once her mum has passed away, she feels that that kind of gives her the freedom to actually look more into what happened to her aunt. She travels to the place where her aunt was last seen, Sundown Motel, where her aunt used to work the night shift, and she ends up getting the same job, kind of going on this little mystery investigation. That one has a paranormal element to it, which I feel like might put some people off, but it doesn't have an overbearing effect on the story. I feel like it's not the forefront of the story, it's kind of just in the back and adds just an extra element of kind of creepy eeriness. I love the kind of setting of this really run-down old motel on the side of this road in the middle of nowhere. Doors that open by themselves and you can hear footsteps and all the rest of it. And so you get this parallel storyline from both the perspective of Carly's Aunt Viv and Carly as they kind of go and investigate, full stop. And so because I've just read that one, I thought I would pick up her other book that I've seen going around, which is the Book of Cold Cases. This one is about a presumed serial killer who decides to come clean by doing interviews with a true crime blogger in this haunted mansion. And it sounds really, really fun and engrossing, and I'm really looking forward to giving it a go, and hopefully it's going to be a good one. So that's another one on my list. The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. This is one that I've had on my radar for so long. I've wanted to read this for 2 years at least. And I actually bought the beautiful edition from Waterstones, and I don't have the book with me right now, but I will put it on the screen, and it's gorgeous. This one has ghosts, murders, spies, arson, doomed love, street fighting. Oh my. Is that the thing? Ghosts and murders and arsons and spies. Oh my. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's probably because I did it really badly to be there. So yeah, this is a mid-Victorian gothic novel treat. It's a mystery that's narrated by multiple different points of views. I'm a little bit worried about the writing style. Obviously I don't have the book with me right now, but the writing style seems to be very Dickensian and dense, which scares me a bit. I think it's going to require quite a bit of patience and stamina to get through. I'm scared. It's quite a big book as well. I think it's going to feel long at times, but I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's just going to be an incredibly atmospheric book. I also really want to name my future pet Wilkie now. I really like the name Wilkie. It's probably a bit of a disservice to the author, but keeping the memory alive. The last one that I wanted to talk about, very short video. I've been efficient and succinct. Is that the right word for this scenario? Sure. Is Dracul, I don't know if that's how you'd pronounce it, Dracul by Agatha Stoker. This one is a prequel to Dracula, which is inspired by the notes and kind of texts from Bram Stoker. It's a supernatural thriller about Dracula's origins, but also about Bram Stoker's origins, and it's presented as this true story. It follows Bram Stoker in his childhood and kind of his first encounter with the evil that would then lead him to write Dracula. I think it sounds super interesting, and all of the reviews that I've seen are super positive and say that it's just such a good vampire story. So I've been wanting to read that one for ages. Again, I think I've had my own eye on that one for about 3 years now. I'm a little bit intimidated by it because it looks like it's going to be quite a big book. I think what I can expect from that one is that it's going to be super creepy, really atmospheric. I know that a lot of it takes place within old villages, old ruins of castles, of course, very important, in kind of gloomy daylight. It sounds so good. It's going to hit all of the right notes, and I'm very much looking forward to picking that one up. That's it. That's the list. In a vlog that I've already filmed, but I don't know if it'll gone out before this video or not, I mentioned that I've been on like an Agatha Christie kick. And when I said that, I'd only read 4 of her books. Skip to a month later, I have now read 20 of her books. I am officially addicted. I read 17 of her books in August, and then the last 3 I've read this month, and we're only on the 6th or 7th of September right now, I can't remember. Addicted. And I'm so happy because it was such a disappointment when I read Halloween Party and I didn't like it. So I will definitely have loads of those to read. So if I manage to get any of these other books, that would be great. I wanted to quickly, I'm going to do a whole video dedicated to all of the Agatha Christie books that I have read. I'm going to do that sometime in October so that, you know, it's the right vibe. But I wanted to quickly mention at the end of this video some of my favourites. The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, an obvious one I know, but it is just so good. The Unexpected Guest, which was originally a play and then she rewrote it as a novel because of how popular it was. Why Didn't They Ask Evans? I would highly recommend the audiobook for that one. I loved Frankie and Bobby in it. I thought that they were like genuinely hilarious. Peril at End House. So those are the ones that I would recommend so far because they're some of my favourites. And I will go more into depth about those books in my upcoming video solely dedicated to Agatha Christie. If you want any more Halloween autumny books, like autumny book recommendations from me, I have done, I think, have I done 2 videos now that are like Halloween-y? I will link them so you can go check them out, but that is all from me today. I hope that this helped you out a little bit and that you're now excited for these books. Let me know what you're reading and also leave me some recommendations for spooky autumny books down below. Tell me what books you've already read maybe that were favourites for this time of year. Forming sentences is hard. Bye!